In this video, I'm going to show you how to tie a classic salmon pattern, the Jock Scott. So as I showed you in the introduction video, I already tied the gut to make the eye, and the length of the gut is about 1/8 of an inch, which is about the 3 millimeters. So from this point, we're going to tie a few sparrow wraps just to cover the hook shanks until we reach the point of the hook. Let me just do 1 or 2 more wraps. Once you reach the point of the hook, we're just going to unwind the thread to make it flat. We just need to twist it on itself. Once it is flat, we're going to make tight wraps until we reach the barb of the hook. The reason we do the tight wraps is because we're going to cover it with the tag material, and it gives us a point where to start and where to stop. So let's move the thread up to the barb of the hook. Once you reach the barb, we're going to unwind or unwrap 2 or 3 wraps just to be behind the barb of the hook. Then we're going to take a very thin silver oval tinsel that we're going to strip the tip like this. So once it is stripped, we're going to tie this section or this part on top of the hook shank on the thread that we previously wrapped, and then we're going to bring the thread out of the way. And the first wrap we're going to do will be on the bare hook. It's very important, on the bare hook. And from then, with our left finger, we're going to hold the tinsel, and with the right finger, we're going to pull away from the hook shank just to avoid to break or to strip the tinsel. Otherwise, if you always pull on the middle of the tinsel, you might break the tinsel. So just stay away like this, and with the left finger, just hold the tinsel so it doesn't unwind. We'll do about 4 or 5 turns, and when we reach the number of turns, we're gonna just do 1 more just to make sure. Stop counting, and then we're just gonna unwrap the thread, and we're gonna secure the tinsel under the hook shank. So let's just secure everything. Keep the tension of on the tinsel, and then tie the tinsel under the hook shank until we reach the point of the hook. Let's just make a few good wraps. Keep a good tension on the tinsel. Once you reach the point of the hook, like this, we're just going to cut the excess of tinsel. Like this. Then we're gonna tie the second part of the tag, which is a yellow floss. So we're just gonna cut 1 section. If you're using 4 strands floss, just use 1 floss. That we're gonna slip on the thread, and we're gonna tie it under the hook shank like this, and make sure that you stay straight with the tip of the hook. We're just going to make it a little bit shorter. We're going to keep a small section just in case for safety, and then we're going to bring the thread out of the way. Then I'm going to wear some plastic gloves that I bought at the drugstore just to make sure that I won't break or won't split the floss. Otherwise, when your ends are dry, or you might just break the floss and make a little shorter fiber sticking out. So with those gloves, you prevent to break the floss. So cover the hook bend until you reach the tinsel, and then you bring back the floss right at the point of the hook. So we're just going to secure the floss. We're going to tie it under the hook shank. Once again, notice that the thread is straight in line with the point of the hook. And then we're going to make just a few more wraps just to secure the floss, and we're going to cut both strands. Then we're going to tie the tail. So the golden crest that we're going to select, don't take it too short near the tip of the mask. Just use a longer crest, which is very important because this is going to determine the overall look of the fly. So if you make it too short, the wing will be too short, too long, you won't be able to reach the tip of the tail. So one good way to choose the length of the tail, I always keep some material that I'm going to use for the wing. So I measure the wing on the hook like this, and then I can see where the point or the tip of the wing will be. So this will be the place or the length of the overall tail, like this. So once again, you measure the total length of the wing, and then you measure so the tail arrives at the same place. Then we're gonna strip above all the rest of the stem that we don't need. So let's just measure once more time. Then we're just gonna clean up the stem. Once the stem is cleaned up, excuse me, we're gonna tie it on top of the hook shank, on line with the point that we measured. So just make a few wraps of thread. Make sure that the thread is flat. Don't twist it on itself to make it round. Make sure the tail is right in the middle of the hook shank. And we're just going to cut the excess or little fiber sticking out. So let's take the scissors, cut the excess, and make sure that the material is in the middle of the hook shank. Perfect. Otherwise, just pull and place the stem. Then we're going to tie a few more wraps of thread, and then on top of the tail we're going to tie an Indian crow feather. I just want to make sure that before I do everything else, you're going to cut the excess of the crest, and notice also the thread, which is very flat. This will avoid any problems in the next material that we need to tie. So over the tail we're going to tie an Indian crow feather that I'm going to prepare like I showed you in the introduction video. We're going to pinch the tip of the feather. So once you take a feather that you prepared, notice the tip is bent. We're going to tie it on top of the hook shank, and you make sure that the crest, I'm going to make it a little bit less wide, and then you make sure that the crest arrives in the middle of the Indian crow, like this. We can use your bobkin just to open the fibers, just to make sure that the crest arrives in the middle. Perfect. Then we're going to make a few more wraps of thread just to prepare the area for the butt. So for the butt we're going to use an ostrich feather. Notice that the thread I'm using is quite the barbs are quite short. Don't use any ostrich which is too webby. So then we're going to clean up one side of the stem. So we're going to do all the section that we're going to use. You clean up one side, and then you clean up also the base of the stem on both sides. So then we're going to use our tweezer that we're going to make a little elbow on the same side that we clean up the stem. Then we're going to just make it a little bit shorter. Perfect. So notice the little elbow that this section or this elbow, we're going to tie it behind the hook shank like this. Alright, I'm just going to do a close up so you can see the next step. Perfect. So notice that all the material has been tied behind the hook shank, and then we're going to wrap the ostrich. Notice that I'm tying on the side that has been stripped. Be careful that you wrap all the wraps are one after the other. Sometimes if the section here is a little bit tapered, you just cover just to make it more even, just to make sure that the ostrich won't start slipping on it. So just make a few more wraps of ostrich. Sometimes you can put your finger behind it just to hold each wraps so they don't slip. Then we're going to bring the thread and we're going to tie the ostrich. We're just going to secure everything, keep the tension on the ostrich, and make a few tight wraps of thread. And don't pull on the ostrich to break it or to tear it. Just use your scissors and cut the excess. Like this. Oops. This is it. Then at this point we're going to tie the underbody. So for the underbody we're going to bring the thread about, once again, 1/16 of an inch, which is about 1.5 millimeters, and this section here will be to tie the body material. So from there to the behind the gut, just where the gut starts, this will be the underbody. So all this section here of the hook bend, the hook shank, is going to be covered with the underbody, the floss that we're going to use for the underbody. So to do so, cut quite a long section of floss. You need to use a white floss, any light floss. Usually we use the white floss. So let's cut a section. Fold the tip like this, which is about twice the length of the hook shank. So then we're gonna slip the floss on the thread, and then we're gonna tie under the hook shank. Notice when I tie it, about 1/16 from the ostrich, which is about 1.5 millimeters, and then we're gonna secure the floss under the hook shank until we reach the gut. Don't go further than the gut. The way we tie it, this is going to make the underbody almost even with the gut, and then when we're going to tie the body material, we're going to have an even body. So be careful when you reach the gut. So then when you reach it, we're just going to fold it and bring back the floss once again under the hook shank. Just hold the floss, just make sure that it stays under the hook shank, and we're not going to tie it where we start the floss. We're going to keep about the same distance that we did when we start tying the first section of floss. So then we're going to cut this section here. So all those back and forth with different length will make a tapered underbody. So from this point we're going to cover this section of the hook shank with the floss. So once again, I'm going to bring the thread out of the way, and we stop where there's the gut. Notice that I'm wearing again the gloves, which is a great thing not to break the floss. So we're going to cover the hook shank, make tight wraps, make sure that the floss is flat so it's not twisted on itself, otherwise you're going to see all the bumps and all the gap under the final body. So just cover the hook shank like this, and don't forget to stop right where the gut begins. It's very important. I should have cut a little bit longer for the floss. So I'm just going to finish like this. We're going to tie it under the hook shank, and we're going to continue in the next video.